What is going on, fellow fans of Clash Royale? Thank you guys so much for stopping by, and yes, the XBow, it is back. It's actively being used in Clash Royale again ever since that last update that shortened the deployment time on it and just made it a little more potent. Now, this episode may not be what you're expecting. If you're expecting me to spend 10 minutes talking about how bad XBow users are and how terrible it is, we're not just going to show the XBow being taunted mercilessly and being destroyed, although I did kind of dismantle this guy's XBow, but then again, I was level 13, he is level 11, and you almost never see the XBow being used at the very top end of the game. It is probably more frequently being used around levels 8, 9, 10, and 11. So yes, I did kind of bully this guy. I did pick apart his XBow and taunt him with just about every possible taunt that I could drop on him until the very end of the battle, winning 2-0. But people win with the XBow, and not surprisingly, the very next replay we are going to look at is an XBow being used by none other than a member of Peter $17 clans. Now, of course, I mentioned the XBow deploys more quickly and does more damage than it used to, but also just simply the fact that it's still relatively rarely seen probably gives the attackers that are using it that slight edge in that it is the element of surprise. When you've got a card like that, an XBow or a mortar or even something like a Three Musketeers, and you can drop it when your opponent is least expecting it, that is definitely going to give the advantage. And maybe, especially if your opponent never sees an XBow, he isn't going to remember or know exactly the best way to deal with it. Now, Ryan hasn't given away his XBow yet. If you guys can recall, when XBows and mortars were more popular, it was that telltale deployment of a defensive structure like a cannon or a Tesla right on the river that gave it away. But here goes Ryan. Looks like he is ready to drop that XBow. There it goes. His opponent has the cannon ready and indeed gets it deployed in time with that faster deployment speed that the cannon gets targeted by the XBow. But Ryan was ready. He takes out that counter, and now the XBow is going to work on the tower. One of the most annoying things in the game is watching your tower get peppered by those bolts from the XBow. Ryan's opponent not able to stop it until it gets that right tower down to just about 1,000 hit points. So a big lead for Ryan going into the final 90 seconds of this match. And Ryan, though, he's got another win condition card in his deck. He's got the Royal Giant, so that could be a surprising combination. If he has an opportunity, obviously, with Elixir Pumps and in double Elixir in the final minute, you would guess that Ryan is going to try to get both of those cards up at the same time, and that could be absolutely devastating. A duo like that locked onto a tower would melt through it in just a few seconds. Alright, so check out Yushin here. He is thinking he is prepared to stop the next XBow deployment. But this is where that Royal Giant is the perfect card because it will outrange that cannon, taking the cannon out in just a few shots, and now setting up the perfect opportunity for the XBow to go down in behind the Royal Giant. There it is, but good drop, good counter. The minion horde is going to take out both the Giant and the XBow before they get any more damage on that tower at all. And that push from Ryan right there completely countered. And he's got to go back to the drawing board to try to come up with another strategy to get through. But again, Royal Giant, this time it does get to the tower. It is going to get a few shots off before the minions take it down. And Ryan that much closer with 20 seconds left. Both of his towers still well over 2,000 hit points. So he's looking healthy, and sure enough, here it comes. The XBow and the Tesla. The cannon gets down in time once again, but the Tesla and the minions are going to prevent that mini P.E.K.K.A. from getting to the XBow, and that is pretty much it. As time runs out into overtime, Ryan's XBow is going to win the battle, and to add insult to injury, he laughs at his opponent, throws up the good game, and I'm just glad I wasn't on the receiving end of that, or that could have been iPad down. And speaking of being on the receiving end, next up it's Godson from Full Attack, and he's using a little bit of an unusual miner deck. He's got the Minion Horde and the Skeleton Army. Solid cards if you can get that tower distracted with the miner first. And he's been having some success with it here, facing a higher level player, but that higher level player has the Tesla. There you see he has the rocket, and of course, hidden away, not up yet, is an XBow. Now, I will admit, this is a strategy that I haven't mastered yet. The timing behind this does take some practice, but it is such a rewarding deck when you can get your miner in there and grab the attention of the tower, so the tower is firing on that miner that is obviously going to take several shots to fall, and you can get in with a large group of units like the skeleton army or the minion horde, and you can quickly annihilate another player's tower. Also, Gadu using the spear goblin hut, so a very unusual deck. I don't know if I've seen this exact combination before at all. And there is QQQ's XBow up in his hand, ready to go. Maybe it looks like he's waiting for the barbarians to move close to the river. That might be a good spot. Again, protecting that XBow is the key to its success. Getting a structure or units in front of the XBow once it gets down, so that it has an opportunity to lock onto the tower before the opponent can get a good counter there. So QQQ still has the advantage of the element of surprise in his hand, in that Gadu has no idea what is coming. But this right here, we talked about this in the last attack, it's a telltale warning sign. That is a sign of a sign of use of the XBow right there. When you've got a Tesla placed right up on the water, that is always going to raise warning flags for any player who has seen it before. And there it goes. Even though the Tesla was just about to fall, the barbarians are going to get in front and protect the XBow, and the XBow is going to fire on the spear goblin hut, which actually turns out to be a good strategy from Gadu. That right there, that spear goblin hut, I like the idea. It can distract something like an XBow, a mortar, or even a royal giant. And up to this point, Gadu has successfully prevented that XBow from locking onto his tower. Card after card, troop after troop going down. Finally, though, as the Ice Wizard falls to the Valkyrie, he drops the skeleton army, but the XBow locks onto the tower. But it gets a minimal amount of damage done before it finally goes down. And Gadu has gotten some good damage on his opponent's tower. And here we go again. Another XBow rotates around, and another Tesla goes down. This time the Ice Wizard full health out in front, and that's a dangerous combination. And also remember, QQQ has been elixir pumping, and there goes the XBow once again locked on to the tower. Barbarians, and look, he is teasing Gadu right there. That is some BM right there as that XBow is going to work doing major damage. And again, oh no, a rocket. Oh, that is so bad. That is so ugly. That is so unpleasant. I feel bad for Gadu. That is not a fun loss right there, especially when your opponent throws up a few bad-mannered taunts at the end. But alas, don't despair. All is not lost. We've got Kai 11 from Full Attack to show how it's done, how to stop a stinking XBow user that, I'm sorry, it's just such an enraging strategy. You can see that Kai has several legendary cards in his deck. Now, obviously, you don't need a bunch of legendary cards to stop an XBow. It's just a matter of getting units in, getting structures down that are going to draw the fire. And this opponent drops an early XBow this time, but it does focus on the Ice Wizard off to the left. His opponent now trying to protect it with the Knight, with the Ice Wizard, and with the cannon. Now he's got Barbarians. He's got all sorts of units in front. And eventually, yes, the XBow is going to lock onto the tower. And there it goes like a woodpecker on a tree, over and over and over again. And it is doing a lot of damage. Gets it to well under 2,000 hit points. And there is the rage from Kai. I would be feeling the exact same way. And his opponent seems to be soaking it up and loving it. Now again, another unusual deck. Check it out. He's got a Golem in this deck, a Golem and an XBow. So again, like we saw earlier with the Royal Giant XBow, his opponent obviously, ideally, is going to get the Golem in front of the XBow, and that will be a very dangerous combination. Right here, a good drop. He's got the Fire Spirits and the Hog Rider, but the Ice Wizard gets the job done. Looks like a possibly good push, but there is the infuriating thumbs up from Kai's opponent, and get ready. Things are about to get a whole lot worse as we see a little Ice Wizard on Ice Wizard action. Watch the back right. There it is. The Golem goes down, and you know the plan, obviously, is to get that Golem in front of the XBow. Kai, in the meantime, has put together a pretty solid push down the left-hand side with the Minor Barbarian and the Ice Wizard. And sure enough, he is going to annihilate that tower. His opponent getting elixir starved, going for that big 8 elixir Golem. But there it is, the combination of the Golem and the XBow. But by the time he's gotten this down, he seemed like he was so set on getting the Golem XBow combination to work that Kai has just about grabbed the 3 crown win. He is going to get this right tower down. That is obvious. A second golem going down. Now Kai has to wonder, can he survive this push? Probably not with 2 full-size golems on the King's Tower. He makes the right decision, and that is to go full force down the left-hand lane. Not bother at all about the right. Don't try to go for the 2-1 win. Just push everything you can, and it's going to happen any second now as that giant granite gargantuan golem grinds on the tower. Kai doesn't have much time left, but there it is. The Barbarian Hog Rider Goblin push. They're going to melt through the cannon, get right to the King's Tower, and just in time, grab the 3-crown win before all those units and another XBow can get to Kai's tower, and revenge is sweet. He comes from behind, takes the 3-crown win, and downs another dirty XBow user. But I want to hear your guys' feedback. Is the XBow still the most hated card in the game? Or is it something else? Is it well balanced and rare enough now that it's okay to have in the game? Or do you still think it needs to be deleted? Let me know down in the comments along with your suggestions for future updates to Clash Royale. Thank you so much for your time. If you get a chance, please do subscribe for daily Clash content, and I hope to see you all back here again tomorrow for more full attacks. Right before it does, and does, Galadon, need your medication.